wasn't exactly sure how to structure this video or even what to call it, but I think it's probably safe to say we can call it odds and ends. It's based largely on feedback and questions that you send me. As you know, they're always welcome. So we've got everything on the table from a couple of Howas to a Furet. We've got a Remington Model 6 boys rifle and another carbine from Belgium or Germany, I'm not sure. And we've got a Savage 1899, so we'll cover a lot of ground, but it'll make sense, I hope, as it unfolds. We'll start with actually the same subject that we had on the last video, which is the 6.5 Grendel in the Howa 1500. But on that first video, just because there's not enough time, I didn't show you the first 6.5 Grendel I had and still have, and that's this model. And as you can see, you know, it has a regular, I think it's a Hogue stock, not positive, and it has the removable magazine. This is off of the graphite model, so they come with the same thing. I didn't bother putting the 10-round mag on the table because you know what that looks like. So why am I showing this? Because, I mean, essentially this is the same as the carbon fiber version, the Stalker, I guess, except it has the removable magazine, which I've removed, and that's what I wanted to show you. It has better scope bases. I think these might be tallies. I stuck on a Picatinny rail, which I removed, and it has a fair-sized scope, Nico Sterling. It might have been one of those packages, I just don't remember. Anyway, I took it out, and I didn't know anything about the 6.5 Grendel, or not much. I knew it was based on the 7.62 by 39, and it looked like an excellent cartridge. Anyway, it was this rifle that made me realize how excellent that 6.5 Grendel is. I had been shooting, like everybody else, the Creedmoor, and before that, I didn't see how anyone could really beat the 6.5 by 55 Swedish, or for that matter, the 6.5 by 54 Mannlicher Schönauer. But anyway, I, in the meantime, discovered sort of that this Grendel is one of those magic cartridges. So ballistics are terrific. There's virtually no recoil. This rifle has no threaded barrel. So anyway, I took it out as the story goes, and I was impressed with it. But I did think, my goodness, this could be a really nice handling rifle. And as it's decked out, we've got this big scope. I mean, it's not quite a dirigible, but it's getting there. We've got under the scope and these big mounts and this magazine, we've got a pretty handy bolt-action rifle. And then what did I do? I went and bought the Stalker, this one, which is even more elegant and lighter and faster and fancier in the hand. And then I put on the rail, and then, you know, the magazine was there. So I took all that off, and I ordered from Jefferson Outdoors, I think they're in California, this amazing floor plate. Changes the whole rifle. As you know, you generally don't order a new spare floor plate with your bolt-action rifle because you don't lose a floor plate, I hope. But it's very common for people to lose magazines. Also, with this Jefferson Outdoors floor plate, I have nothing to do with the company. They made this so, I mean, it's made like a Rolex. It does have a plastic magazine box. Oh, and if you're buying one of these and installing it, they do include, you know, good instructions. You have to put the magazine box in first, and then just follow what they say, and it works out perfectly. So now I've got a rifle that, you know, model 94-ish, and I'm not going to stick a huge scope on this. Yes, the 6.5 is capable of all kinds of long-range shooting, and I'll figure that out later. I wish this had some kind of iron sights, because that's what would make it perfect. This is just about ideal for me, the way the stock is laid out and so on. But I thought I'd share that with you. You can take, you know, class it up with this floor plate. I hope the factory is listening and maybe they can offer it, but I doubt it. Also, I don't want Jefferson Outdoors to suffer. They did such a great job. Just beautiful, and it's, you know, aluminum or whatever, but that's good because you don't want, you know, steel when it's an ultralight rifle. So I thought I'll show you that. I don't know, people always tell me, forget the iron sights, get an aim point, and I can do that, and maybe I will do that, but I don't know, there's still something about iron sights, something with no optics, no electronics, no red dots, nothing glowing or sparkling or switching, just regular sights, like a Model 94. I guess I just love those rifles. Anyway, we'll set that down. So that's my story for the 6.5 Grendel in this Howa Mini. And, you know, having said all that, you can see I still own this one just because it shoots so incredibly well. And it came, like I said, it came with this Nikko scope, which was supposed to be bad. Somebody told me it's terrible, and maybe they have better judgment than I do because I found it great. I had no problem with it all. Clear and consistent accuracy when I was shifting powers. So let's stick with floor plates. Now this is, like I told you, it's kind of odds and ends. So next up is completely unrelated rifle, and this is a Titan II. Made by Furre or Vore in Germany. One of the best aftermarket actions you can see. It does everything these super modern rifles does. This one has a good stock. But why am I showing? Because people write me that they buy this rifle, and one fellow sent me pictures, and the floor plate here was pried up. Somebody had taken a screwdriver, and I've had several questions. How do you get this floor plate open? So people are used to pushing this button, and then this kind of pops open or something happens. Anyway, frustration, as we all know, is a dangerous thing, especially for most humans. And so I'll show you the trick. It's really simple, but it maybe isn't intuitive. So you just push this button, and then the entire assembly pivots up. And I guess somehow that doesn't, like I said, it's not intuitive. And then inside is a beautiful removable magazine that usually falls out. Right, it's just about falling out. And that gets clicked back in place, and then you close the whole thing. And this reminds me a lot of the Merkel, I think it's the KR1. It has a similar system. That's a different bolt action. It has a short action, and they handled a magazine problem. But this is a conventional configuration. Actually, I think it's very elegant because you have both kind of the security of a floor plate plus the removable magazine inside. So I thought I'd show that to you. So if you have one of these, or there may be rifles out there that I'm not aware of, it isn't always true. It looks like this should come off, but just try to lift the whole assembly, and then that's solved. So I'll set that down. Then a similar thing people write me about is the Savage 99 takedown. So this is the 1899. It's in 303 Savage, one of the finest rifles ever made. And in its time, I think it had the best takedown system, but people have problems with it and damage the barrel, actually, inadvertently. Again, I think frustration. So essentially you just pull down on this button and then tip off the forend. And here's where they get stuck. They turn and turn and turn. And maybe some of them I'm assuming maybe have thread locker from prior owners. I never know the details, but I try to help understand what people are telling me. And I think most of the time, with thread locker or no thread locker, the key is you have to open the action, because if you don't open the action, the extractor is engaged. These actions are so slick, they fall open, is sitting in the back of the barrel. Then after that, all it takes is a quarter turn. And until the Browning BLR came along, I think the Savage had the slickest takedown system. The Winchester is nice, with that lever at the end, and you turn it and so on, but This is a lot easier and simpler. So that's a Savage 1899 takedown. And, well, you know, if you can find one of these in 303, or that's 303 Savage, not 303 British, or 250 3000s, you never look back. This one's been beautifully restored. I think we looked at this on Patreon. Loaded indicator here, brass counter on the side. Remains one of the best rifles ever made. So that takes care of that loose end. I hope that's helpful. And let me know if this kind of video is useful. There's, you know, I write a lot and I try to answer most of my correspondence, but sometimes just showing is the best way to go. Next one, completely unrelated, Remington Model 6 boys rifle. I have received many pictures actually over the years from people from their past. They showed me with this kind of rifle attached to their bicycle. How times have changed. They would just ride around, I don't know, go to creeks or wherever, and this was a very popular rifle in its time. But I do get letters from people who feel it doesn't work, and when I get that kind of letter, I think, well, maybe it doesn't work. They're pretty old, but sometimes it's because of a bit of confusion with the hammer. So people pull it back and then they try to unlock, and it's kind of a tipping block or a rolling block, and it's also a falling block. It's quite strong. And anyway, it's not, there's no trick. It's just you have to pull the hammer all the way back, and then don't try to push down or any other maneuver. And I suspect sometimes there's rust in there. But on mine, this is all polished and everything. So you just push that down and load it, and then up, and then fire. And it does have a half cock here, but if it's on half cock, you can't open the action. I think I showed you this rifle before. But you know, I got another letter, and so I thought, well, maybe I'll just show it. And it's a takedown. You undo the screw, and it becomes even smaller. I don't have permission to share images, but it was a really cute picture of the little fellow with this kind of like a bicycle pump on the bar of his bicycle off to the creek in 1900 whatever it was. Anyway, if you find these, still remains a fantastic shooter, and gas tight, accurate, short, long rifle, does it all. So that one we'll set aside, and then I guess we're reaching the end here. This one actually doesn't work, but I'm showing it to you because people get confused about the operation of some of the older European guns. First off, I wanted to draw to your attention the amazing work on the barrel. Damascus Teal, so we've got octagon, we've got what's called a wedding ring, and then it goes to round. And it's just a beautiful, but this one would have to, you know, get some work done. Release for the action is here. You can see this moves down, and then people try to, you know, break them open. They won't break open because this action, when you push this down, allows the action to pivot. This action goes sideways, and then you load in the side and then pivot it closed. And this is a strong spring that snaps into a housing on the top of the action. This can be restored. I just don't have time. And what caliber? I think it's 44, and it is, to look at the firing pin, I think it's 44 center fire. Anyway, I thought it's of interest to, I think, any shooter or collector, and beautifully styled. And, you know, even though it, oops, with the hammer up, of course, you can't see the sights. Yeah, even though it is what it is, it's still a great rifle. Okay, and then I'll leave off with, you know, shipping. I've received lots of correspondence about shipping. So, long time ago, I had a Hagen rifle built, and this was the stock. This was the butt stock, and it arrived with this piece broken off, which is quite common because when this piece is here, this is unsupported. So usually, when I ship these, I put a block of wood in here, but that didn't happen. So then it impacted and it broke off. Then what happened is There were various attempts made to fix this, and that's why there's this strange stippling, because the wood was quite expensive. I think I sent the wood, I don't remember the story. Anyway, the repair failed, but this would fit a Hagen medium action. So why do I bring it up? Because I guess we should, there's no reason to be angry or upset anybody. That it's broken, it's broken. And who's responsible? Well, no one's responsible. Destiny's responsible. So I tried to fix it. I could still fix it somehow. It's not going to look, this was beautifully checkered. In other words, stuff happens in the mail, in shipping. Who knows what actually happened? Did somebody step on it? Or if they did, then, you can speculate forever. Essentially, if things go wrong in shipping, I guess sometimes factories cover things, but definitely at the custom gun makers level, there's not much you can do. And this would be essentially, pretty desk ornament or firewood. But I've kept it over the years just because it was kind of interesting. Look how you can see the beautiful wood and shadow line cheek piece and so on. Really nice. I guess my main point is nothing to get upset about. It's just what it is. Spilled milk. Even if it's worth a couple of grand, life will go on. And you try to resolve it. And if you can't, just get a new buttstock made. And that's what I did in the end. So yeah, stuff goes wrong. I'm not sure that everybody thinks the same way as I do. All right, well, let me know if you want more of these odds and ends types of videos, but we covered a few things, and then you physically see, rather than me writing long paragraphs that can put people to sleep. Other than that, I wish you all well, and we'll see you next time. Take care.